Hey guys, welcome to today's analysis. Today is Thursday, the 26th of September 2019, and the time is 10:01 here in the UK. Today's analysis, we're going to be looking for price action setups, plus we're going to be discussing the price action setups that we spotted earlier in the week. So we're going to be looking for setups across all of these pairs here. When I say price action setups, I basically mean reversals, continuations, all kinds of price action setups. I mean all kinds of price action setups. We're going to kick things off with looking at some of the trades I shared last week, such as AUDJPY. Now, this one, I already closed this one out a while ago. Some of you were still in it. At this point, you should probably be closed out. It's not really moving down much anymore. It's been moving sideways for pretty much 3.5 days now. So you should consider closing this one out now. It should have hit target or be very, very close to your target. So this should be all good. If you're in CAD-JPY, this one backtracked a little yesterday. I think like 90% of you didn't enter this trade, or 99% of you. I think very few of you entered this trade, because when I shared it, I said that I basically said this was the poor version of AUDJPY. And if you're going to enter one of them, you should enter AUDJPY instead of CAD-JPY. So I'm not sure if anyone actually got into this one. I think that's what I said anyway. I hope that's what I said. I don't want to be lying right now, but I'm pretty sure I said that. That AUDJPY was the better option, which turned out to be true. Now, don't get me, I'm not bragging here. A lot of the times when it comes between two trades and I say one's the better option, I'll be wrong. So it's just kind of like most of the times these things come out to a 50-50 chance. But what I usually base it on is risk to reward ratios. What has the better risk to reward ratio, generally speaking, is the one I go for. And this one had not as good of a risk to reward ratio, because we were basing the entry on this candle here. So the risk to reward ratio just wasn't as good. That's why I suggested AUDJPY instead. To those who did enter CAD-JPY, it's backtracked a little, pretty much back to the entry, which is unfortunate. At this point, I mean, it really depends on a few factors. First of all, if you Google CAD-JPY swap, it will tell you the swap rate across a lot of brokers. Check specifically with your broker what your swap rate is, but you're losing quite a bit on a short trade in swap rate with CAD-JPY, so that's not a good thing, obviously. So you might want to consider exiting, because this position's been open for quite some time. You're losing money on the swap rate. It's just eating away at your profits, and the trade's not really going anywhere. So yeah, you should probably consider closing this one out. Gold. We're in a long-term long on gold. Made progress over the from the 20th of September to the 24th. It made some progress finally, after going sideways for days. It made progress. So I was like, oh great, it's making progress. And then that all got wiped out yesterday. Fantastic. It happens, guys. What can you do? It's just one of those things. I'm still going to hold on. It's a long-term position, so I'm not that worried, but it's just unfortunate, isn't it? Here we go. Just gonna, actually, you know what? Never mind. I'll explain that later. I was gonna show you guys something, but I'll explain that later. Let's stick to the more important stuff for now. So yesterday we were looking at a potential AUD New Zealand long if it dropped down into the support area, which it hasn't done so yet. So still waiting for that. EURCHF. Now this one's interesting. This one is pretty much just triggered recently. It's a long trade from the support area here. Yesterday closed as an awesome indecision candle. So this looks like an ideal setup. This is one I shared yesterday. I am not in on this one yet. Is anyone in on this one? While you guys answer that, I'm going to quickly switch to EURJPY. EURJPY is another potential setup I shared yesterday. We're looking for price to stall out on support. It kind of did, but then today it's dropped lower. But again, we're seeing signs of price stalling on support. So I'm still keeping an eye here on EURJPY as a potential. Basically, I just want to see price stalling on support for a potential long. So yeah, we're just going to wait for an indecision candle here on EURJPY. GBPCHF, this doesn't look that great anymore, to be honest. I'm just going to drop this back down to here. Oops, what am I doing? And GBPJPY, price seems to be breaking through this support area. So again, this was something we're looking at yesterday for a potential long if it stalled on support. It hasn't stalled on support yet, but keep in mind this current candle could easily turn into an indecision candle. Just because it's dropping right now, it doesn't mean that price can't pull back up. So for example, let me draw this. It doesn't mean that price can't pull back up and close something like this. Now imagine the candle closes like this. That'd be a nice little indecision candle sitting right on top of support. So I'm going to keep a close eye on this one. Obviously can't enter it right now, but if it closes as indecision, perhaps tomorrow it might give us an entry. So I'm going to keep a close eye on that one. Right, now going back to EURCHF, there's a potential long here. There's a few things, a few risky things about this long trade that we should go over. A few risky things, which you need to consider before entering, and you need to decide if this trade is right for you, if the risk is low enough for you. So let's discuss the risky things, that way you are aware. First of all, price seems to struggle around about this area here. So around about this area here, price seems to struggle. Now, we've seen it struggle a bunch of times. I'll mark those times. So that's quite a few, but then you've also got this from the other side. So this area here, price struggles at it. That's something we need to consider. Now, one thing that you can do to protect against that is to set your minimum target at 1.5, which should allow you to just, there we go, maybe just hit your target if it starts to struggle there, if we get some high wicks like we got over here. See these high wicks? They might be able to close you out. Generally, how I approach a situation like this, let's say I'm setting a tight target of 1.5. I don't actually set the target. I set a kind of, I say to myself, I want to exit here if price stalls here. So how do I know if price stalls there? I right click, I add an alert, create the alert. When price gets close to this area, when price gets close to my exit, the alarm goes off. My exit isn't actually entered as a pending order. The alarm goes off. Then I come back and I check if I want to exit the trade. If it's moving really nicely, we're getting a really strong move up, then I obviously don't exit because we got momentum on our side. If it's showing signs of stalling when it gets here, then I exit at my minimum target of 1.5. So that's usually how I approach situations like this. I use alarms instead of pending orders. Obviously, if you know that you're not going to be able to be in front of your charts, either on your phone or on your computer, if you're going to sleep, whatever, then you actually set a real pending order. You only rely on the alarms when you know for a fact that you can respond to them. If you can't respond to them, the alarm is absolutely useless. Set a real pending order. Even if you get taken out of the trade earlier than you wanted to, you need to set the pending order if you're going to be away from your computer. So hopefully that makes sense. That's how I would approach this one. I'm not sure yet if I'm going to enter. There's still time to make a decision, so I'll decide on that. Yeah, I'll decide on that over the next hour or so. Probably after this webinar, I'll decide if I'm going to enter that one. Just taking a quick look at the forum. I see that this is not posted to the forum. Yeah, I don't think it is. Okay. So we got to get this one shared on the forum. That way we can have a bit of a discussion about it. But yeah, this one's very close to being okay to enter. You just got to consider that it is a bit of a risky trade. Another thing that I forgot to mention about the riskiness of this trade. Last time that it dropped down all the way to here. So the fact that these lows were made recently makes it a lot easier for these lows to be made again. So having a stop loss here is technically okay, but it's not going to be too hard for sellers to hit that stop loss, maybe even push down to here and then turn around like they did last time. So got to also be very careful of that. Keep in mind that last time price tried to push up, came back down, tried to push up again, and then went all the way down before going up. So this is a somewhat risky trade. I'm not even sure if I'm going to enter it yet. It's worth considering, but it's overall a risky trade. No, I'm not going to do anything with this. Sonia, I'm not sure exactly what part you're having difficulty with. There's 3 sections for trades. They're split up into the types of trades. Make sure you sign up to the alerts. That way you get emails about the setups. Then you'll get emails directly to your inbox. Sign up for notifications, not alerts, notifications for each section of the forum where the trades are shared, and you'll get notifications. There's a section, when you enter the forum, there's a section that says announcements and info, and then in brackets must read. So if you click on that section and you read the stuff in there, the step 1, the pinned stuff, I can't really show it in this webinar because this webinar is going to be posted publicly. But if you check out that section, it says step 1, step 2, step 3. So just go to the must read section. Yeah, but the important ones are pinned to the top. There are 373 posts on there, but the important ones are all pinned to the top. So the first 5 are the important ones. So if you click on that section, you'll see the first 5 topics. They're the important ones. Maybe I could create a new section that has only those in there. I'm not sure. But yeah, maybe if that's in a separate section. I'll think about it. Anyway, this is not the place to discuss this. We're here to do the analysis, so if I start thinking about that stuff and then blah, 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 we're going to get way too distracted. Let's focus on the analysis for now. I'll think about it if there's a better way to explain that, but please read the must-read section. All the important ones are at the top. It says step 1, step 2, step 3. It tells you all the steps you need. I think you also got an email when you joined the course about signing up to alerts, and there's also a video right at the start of the course which explains all of that. So make sure you sign up to the email alerts, because that's the most important part of the forum. That way you get all the trades delivered directly to your inbox. All right, we've got some potential stuff happening on GBPUSD and AUDUSD. I guess GBP CAD. All right, so what's going on with GBPUSD? GBPUSD is a little bit interesting. Just got to figure out what this support area is based on, because it doesn't look like a fantastic support area. It does have some history, so I guess it's okay, but it's not really a great one. So actually, we don't have anything going on GBPUSD. Don't worry about that one. We'll ignore that one. But AUDUSD has something interesting going on. So AUDUSD is sitting on top of a support area right now. It's a pretty decent support area. We're seeing signs of it stalling on top of this support area here. So we could get in long at some point. I'm probably going to wait for today's candle to close at least. The daily candle. So there's a potential long here. But we'll come back to that towards the end of the webinar when we do the summary, and I'll explain that in more detail. Let's see if we can find some other setups. What was this? Why have I got a long here? Interesting. One sec, guys. USD has been going crazy, hasn't it? Because Trump said today, Trump says a trade deal with China could happen sooner than you think. Basically said that on Twitter, I think, or somewhere. Very, very convenient that when impeachment talks start, all of a sudden this China trade deal stuff starts going really, really well. I'm not sure if it's related or if it's just coincidence, but it seems like he's trying to deflect some stuff. Sadly, his deflection has caused a wild swing on the US dollar, which it's not like it's really bad for us, but it wiped out some of the potential setups we were looking at, but it's also given us some new potential setups. So there is some good and some bad with this tweet. But yeah, USD-CHF, there's nothing really here that's worth trading anymore. And it's part of the reason why we had that pullback in gold, actually. That pullback on the gold. I'm pretty sure it was related to that tweet, so it kind of hurt us with that. Just confirming that. Yeah, I'm pretty sure that it was related to that tweet, which is unfortunate for us, but what can you do? We live in a world where tweets have the potential to ruin our trades. Hopefully, come 2020, we no longer live in that world. But for now we do, so we just got to put up with it. That tweet kind of hurt us. But, I mean, it's not like it's hit our stop loss, and I'm pretty sure gold's going to recover and just go back to where it was. Usually this news is short-lived, but my worry overall is with all this impeachment talk that's going on surrounding Trump, his Twitter feed might start going a bit crazy with like deflections, talking about Chinese trade deal being sorted out and all that kind of stuff. And that could cause problems for this position, especially since this is a long-term position that I want to hold over the coming weeks. It could be a very bumpy ride over the coming weeks. And I wouldn't be surprised if we get more tweets when Trump wakes up in the morning and it starts driving price down and it hits our stop loss. If that happens, it happens. We can't really do much about it. It's something out of our control. Well, the events are out of our control. The stop losses are in our control. So just hold on to your stop. If it goes against us, it goes against us. EURCAD's about to touch a pretty strong support area, so I'm going to mark this one as a potential, and we'll come back to it if it hits that support area. Or we'll check it out if it hits that support area. Euro-USD, interestingly, is about to make a new low. Very, very close to making a new low. And this is a low it hasn't seen since May 2017. So Euro is losing a lot of value lately. Argument can be made that it's worth entering a short trade if it breaks these lows. It would be the type of trade I don't normally take. It would be a risky trade. It doesn't really follow the rules I have laid out in the course, but this would be what I call a continuation trade. It's the type of trade that I used to take 10 years ago when the markets were moving in a very similar way to what they are today. Actually, no, 12 years ago. How time flies. It's a different type of trade. It's not something I've shared in the course because it wasn't working that well for the last 12 years. 12 years ago, it was my main money maker. And it was pretty much the best overall period I had trading. It was some of the best years I've ever had in terms of returns for those years. And we're starting to see the market move in a similar way in terms of the trends, but not so much the average daily ranges. So if it breaks here, I'm going to consider entering a short. I'll explain further on the forum if I do, because it's going to be a bit of a tricky one, and it's not something that you guys are familiar with trading, because like I said, I haven't really shared this part of my strategy because it hasn't been active for 12 years. But it's starting to seem more and more like it will be a way to trade. AUDJPY is interesting if it drops down into the support area. We talked about that. Have we talked about that? Not really. We talked about the setup that we took, but now it's dropping down into the support area. So if it gets down into the support area, there might be potential long there. But actually, yeah, let's do that. Let's mark AUDJPY as a potential. We're going to remove it from the green trades because I think almost all of you have exited it. Now AUDJPY is dropping into support. Once it hits support, there might be potential for a long trade there. It's not quite there yet though, so this one is still early days. It probably won't even happen until next week, but just keep an eye on it. good to be aware of it. EURCHF, we discussed this one in depth already, so there's not much else to say about this one. It's a bit of a risky setup. I'm not too sure if I'm going to enter it. I think not. I think not. It's not really a pair I'm accustomed to trading. It's not really a pair I like trading. And there are a few risky factors with this setup. So I think I'm going to avoid it because my risk profile was pretty low. But that doesn't mean you guys should avoid it. If you guys are more open to taking slightly higher risk trades, there is absolutely nothing wrong with that. So do consider this one. I think I'm not going to enter it. Please, can someone post it to the forum if it's not there already? I had a quick look. I didn't see it there. Please post it to the forum so we can open it to discussion. If it's not posted to the forum, by the time the webinar ends, I'll post it. But I shouldn't be the one to post it because I'm probably not going to enter it. So it's a bit, you know, someone who's entering should probably post it. AUDJPY was what we were just looking at. I was looking at that thinking, that just looks so similar. But of course, it's what we were just looking at. So AUD New Zealand. AUD New Zealand, we were looking at this one yesterday. We're just looking for a potential long from this support area. It's not at the support area yet, so, you know, don't think too much about this one. This one's just something that could happen over the coming days. So probably most likely next week is when this will happen. So this is more of a long-term thing, much like AUDJPY. Actually, because they're happening, most likely going to happen later, we'll drop them to the bottom. Now, EURJPY, this one looks a lot more interesting. The main issue I have with this setup right now is that it's dropping down quite fast. So more likely than not, this is just going to keep falling down and it's not going to give us a setup. That being said, it could pull back up and give us indecision on top of the support area. So I'm going to keep an eye on it as a potential long trade, but right now it doesn't look like it's going to be a long trade. Maybe it will turn into one if price stops dropping down. So this one has a big if over it, much like GBPJPY. In fact, it is almost exactly like GBPJPY. If price stops dropping down and it pulls back up and it starts stalling on top of support, then there's a potential long. Otherwise, not really. AUDUSD, this one's interesting. It's not the best of setups, especially this stall here. But it looks somewhat decent. We're getting indecision forming on support. So I'm going to wait for this indecision candle to close and then look for a long trade from here. EuroCAD, this one hasn't reached support yet. It's dropping quite fast to support. If it hits support and stalls out, there's potential for a long there. And yeah, that is pretty much it, guys. There's also Euro-USD, but this one's, it's a pretty complex thing, and I'm gonna have to explain this one on the forum if I enter it. Colin is asking down to 10848. Very possibly, Colin. Very possibly. If Euro-USD keeps falling, then EURJPY is gonna continue to fall, as is EuroCAD. So I think there's a good chance that Euro-USD is going to keep falling. The idea is, if it breaks these lows, then, especially if it closes below these lows, then I think we're going to see 108. I don't like saying stuff like that. I think it's probably going to keep pushing down, but I don't like saying stuff like that because it's hard to predict where price will go overall and where it will stop, where it will reach in a trend. A lot of people make those predictions, but they're wrong 90% of the time, and then the 10% of the time that they are right, they brag about it on Twitter and on whatever social media they use. I don't really like making those predictions. All I can really say is price is trending down heavily on Euro-USD, and it's about to break the lowest lows we've seen since 2017. So May 2017. So we're talking over 2 years here. So these are very significant lows that are about to be broken. If price closes below these lows, I think we're probably going to see that tells us straight away that the bears are really strong. So bears are really strong, and we're going to see price moving down further. Now, that's not always going to be the case. That could be the case. I hope that's the case because I'm interested in taking a short trade here. But there's a few issues. First of all, just because price drops lower than it did a few days ago, it doesn't necessarily mean that it's going to keep dropping down. Technically speaking, this move was lower than it was than the moves we got down to here. And that didn't necessarily mean that it kept dropping. Actually, this is a very bad example because it kind of did keep dropping after breaking this low. So that doesn't really prove much. Okay, here's a good example, right? So recently, these lows were the lowest lows we'd seen since 2017. Yeah. Recently, these lows here, right, were the lowest lows we'd seen since 2017. This was back in May 2019. We got the lowest lows we'd seen since 2017. Then, a little while later, comes July 2019. July 2019, we got a lower low. Price dropped further down. Let me draw a line here. So it dropped further down. Now, maybe you would have entered there, but it dropped down like barely anything. It just like poked below it. So I doubt anyone would have actually got in there. Then after that, what happens? Boom, it drops down and it closes below that. Closes below that. So a lot of people here would have said, it's closed below these lows. It looks like it's going to start dropping down from here. They would have shorted. It might have went in their direction for a short while, but then boom, it shot up. So, you know, we could have a similar scenario here where price drops down like this today, closes below, people all enter. Tomorrow, we get a candle that spikes down like that, but then goes, after spiking down, goes all the way back up. Totally possible. Just keep that in mind. But it has some potential. So we'll open discussion about this one on the forum and we'll have a look at it. Are there any questions, guys, or shall we wrap this one up? Okay, it doesn't look like there's any questions, so I'm going to wrap this one up. Yeah, okay, cool. So yeah, guys, let's... One sec, sorry. Yeah. Let's do some announcements real quick. I should have probably done these at the start. I need to confirm the dates. Yeah, okay. I'm going to be away from I think the 17th of October through to the 21st of October. I'm going to be away. I know this is still quite some time away, but I'm just giving you guys a bit of a heads up because I found that it's a good idea to start announcing these things well beforehand so you guys are aware that I'm going to be away. I'm also going to be away on the 10th of October. That's just going to be one day, but that means there's going to be no analysis that day. I have to go down to London to get my Australian passport sorted out. Apparently, the only place you can get your Australian passport redone is in London, which is really annoying because it means I have to spend the whole day down there. But yeah, I need to go down to London to get my Australian passport sorted. You guys don't need all the details. The point is, I'm going to be away on Thursday, so there's going to be no analysis on that day, on the 10th of Thursday. The 10th of October, the 10th of Thursday. And then from the 17th, the following Thursday, through to the 21st, or actually through to the 22nd, I'll be away. So I think the following Thursday, there's unlikely to be any analysis on that date, unless I do analysis very early in the morning before I leave, which I might possibly do, actually. And I think we're probably going to not be having the Tuesday analysis unless it's possibly an evening analysis session. So yeah, I'm going to be announcing that in the coming weeks several times in these webinars just to make sure everyone gets the message. So yeah, thank you guys for attending, and I'll see you guys for next week's analysis, which is Tuesday at 10 a.m. But of course, to all you members, I'll see you guys on the forum over the coming days and the weekend. So thank you guys for attending, and I'll see you later.